Welcome to Shire Meadow Studio. Now that I've officially changed my channel name from Zest Visions, I thought it only fitting to mark the occasion with something, well, hobbity. So I decided to cozy up my plain plastic craft room window with a faux Hobbit-style makeover. You might remember my little Hobbit Book Nook, round, rustic and full of charm. I wanted this window to match the same cosy feel, only on a much bigger scale. So I used the original designer's inspiration and tweaked it, squashing it slightly to fit the shape of my actual window and give me a better view through it. I printed the design over several sheets of paper to get the full scale, taped them all together and tested it against the window. Next, I cut a large rectangle of black matte foam to match the window housing, made sure the middle divider of the window would be nicely covered by the design. With the pattern taped on, I scored it onto the foam and carefully cut out each section. Once cut, I gave it a quick test fit, and yes, so far so good. Changing my craft blade frequently to keep the cuts clean. Then came the fun part. I used my rotary tool to carve the cut edges so they look like hand chiselled wood. But of course, I couldn't leave it there. I wanted something a little more magical. So I designed a carved tree to grow around the window frame. I made it with layers of cardboard and foam mat glued on, which also added some much needed structure. To give the tree texture, I covered it with foam clay and used a silicone bark texture mat to press in the details. I blended it all together using sculpting tools until it looked like proper old oak. Foam clay is brilliant for this. Super lightweight, sticks to itself easily and takes texture beautifully. Now, I couldn't resist adding a touch of faux stained glass around the border. Before I started on that, I painted the edges of the cut sections brown so they'd show through later. I used acetate sheets behind each opening, weighted the foam down and filled each section with clear PVA glue. My hope was that it would dry in place and stop the colours from bleeding. But this was definitely trial and error. The foam had a textured back and it didn't lie flat against the acetate. But after letting the clear glue set for a bit, I added coloured PVA dyed with food colouring, yellow and green for that warm Hobbiton glow. I left it out in the sunshine under a cover for a few days to dry. While that was curing, I gave my UPVC window a good paint in brown PVC paint to help it disappear behind the new frame. Around this time, our resident pigeon George popped by to see what was going on. George has unofficially moved in. He spends his days teasing my big dog Barnaby, flapping around the garden and dive bombing just out of reach. They're quite the double act. Back to the project. Once everything was dry, I added an antique style handle to the window. I then sealed the panels with a coat of clear UV resin for strength and shine. Once cured, I peeled off the acetate sheets from the dried glue, and as I feared, the glue had seeped through in places, but nothing a bit of wiping and reworking couldn't fix. I gave the backs of the panels another coat of resin and left them to cure once more. When I held it up at the real window, oh, I was so pleased. It looked handcrafted, whimsical, and very much at home in the Shire. To finish it off, I added a wood grain texture using a wire brush and some craft tools. Then, using my laser cutter, I made oak leaves in various sizes. I also made acorns, casting the bottoms in a bought mould. But the tops, I cast my own mould from real acorns to give them a more natural look. Foam clay again came into the rescue for attaching and shaping everything. I made a paste from wood glue and foam clay to fix the leaves and acorns onto the tree. Then painted the entire frame in a base coat made from leftover cream house paint and some acrylics to make a warm fawn tone. Another quick test fit. And a surprise visit from Cyril the squirrel at the bird table. He always knows when the camera's rolling. And then it was time to paint the wood grain using layers of brown acrylics. I sealed it all with wood wax for a soft, polished look. Now, while I was doing all this, I noticed my poor old Hobbit house bird feeder. Remember that? It's been outside for a year and was looking a bit tired. So I took it down for a quick refresh. I cleaned it, replaced the natural foliage with plastic grass and trees, hoping they'd weather better this time. And then added a new bird bath and popped it all back up. And who was the first to return? Of course, George. He made himself right at home again, trying to keep poor Penelope, the collared dove, off the bird table. She did make it back eventually, just in time for lunch. The UK weather has been glorious lately, and I've loved every minute of crafting this project and watching the garden wildlife. And I swear, ever since installing the Hobbit window and refreshing the feeder, the bird table has become even more popular. Even Cyril came back to say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. This has been one of my favourite projects, and I hope it inspires you to bring a little Hobbit magic into your home. Until next time, bye bye.